Today, we are going to discuss volume and surface area of solids. Let's have the definitions of volume and surface area. So for volume, this is the region bounded by a three-dimensional shape, which is called spatial or spatial, and the quantity associated to this space is called volume. For the surface area, it is the quantity associated to the region occupied by the surface of a three-dimensional shape. Another, a surface area of a three-dimensional figure is the total area of the planar regions which comprise the surface of the figure. These planar regions can have the polygonal shapes. What follows are the principles involving area of polygonal regions. A polygonal region is the union of a finite number of triangular regions in a plane such that if two of these intersects, their intersection is either a point or a segment. So according to Moyes and Downs. So we have here example of polygonal region. So composed of different triangular regions po. We have for this figure po or for this plane we have um or for these polygons we have here an example of polygonal region po. Let's have these definitions. The area postulate to every polygonal region, there corresponds a unique positive real number. So for the area. If we are going to define area, it is the number associated to it by the area postulate. The area of a region R is denoted by AR, read as area of R or area of the region. We have here the congruence postulates. If two polygons are congruent, then the regions determined by them have the same area since they are congruent. And if we are talking with congruence, they have the same area as the postulate stated po. The area addition postulate, if two polygonal regions intersect and that they intersect only in edges, vertices, then the area of their union is the sum of their areas. For the unit postulate, the area of a square region is the square of the length of its edge. For the volume, a polyhedron is a three-dimensional geometric figure that is made up of a number of polygonal surfaces which are joined along their sides and that encloses a space, according to Alferez and Lambino 2017. We have here the different postulate for volume. Let's have first the unit postulate. The volume of a rectangular parallelepiped is the product of the altitude and the area of the base. So here, product of the altitude and the area of the base. So we have here, area, volume is equal to area of the base. So ito po yung area niya times the height or the altitude of the object or the polygon or this parallelepiped. A unit cube is a rectangular parallelepiped whose sides are 1 unit long. Thus, it follows from the above postulate that the volume of a unit cube is 1 cubic unit. So we have here the volume postulate. For every polyhedron, there is a real number that gives the number of unit cubes and part of unit cubes which fills the region enclosed by the polyhedron. The real number described in the above postulate is the volume of the polyhedron. So we have here some notes. Let's proceed to prisms. A polyhedron is a prism if and only if it has two congruent and parallel faces, and its other faces are parallelogram. So we have here example of prisms. So in this example, the base or the bases are pentagon and the faces are parallelograms po. So if we are going to define bases, the congruent parallel faces of a prism, which are polygonal in shape. So this color blue are bases. Base edges, the sides of the polygonal bases. So ito pong color blue. We have here lateral faces. The faces of a prism other than the two bases. So yan po. So yung paikot po, ayun po yung lateral faces. And the lateral edges are the parallel and congruent segments where the lateral faces intersect in. We have built the altitude, a segment perpendicular to the planes containing the bases. The height, the length of the altitude of a prism. Note that the terms altitude and height are used interchangeably. Thus, the praises an altitude of 6 centimeters and the height of 6 centimeters mean the same thing. We have here right and oblique prisms. So, pag sinabi po natin right prisms, the lateral edges are perpendicular to the base, while oblique prisms, the lateral edges are at an angle with a base other than 90 degrees. So, ito po example niya. Note that for oblique prisms, the shape of lateral faces can be any parallelogram rather. However, for right prisms, they are rectangles. In an oblique prism, which is longer, its altitude or its lateral edge. Ito po yung ating lateral edge and the altitude po is the perpendicular height. So, kapag in this case po, yung lateral edge po yung longer. Since if we're going to draw the altitude, it must be always perpendicular to the base. So we have here right prisms. So right equilateral triangular prism, right square prism, right regular pentagonal prism, right regular octagonal prism. So nakadepende po yung ating regular sa base po. Kung regular po yung ating mga bases. So we can say that they are right prism if or right regular if and only if its bases are regular polygons. So yan po. We have here the formulas for the lateral and total surface area of a right prism. So let's have L. This L represents the lateral area of a right prism, which is P uh, equal to the base perimeter. So ito po yung P, perimeter po yan ng base, at yung H po ay yung height po ng prism. For the total surface area of a prism is the sum of the lateral area and the area of two bases 2B. So we have the lateral area and the area of the two bases po. We have here the volume of a prism. So volume of a prism is equal to the area of the base times the height or the altitude. A cube is a right regular prism. All of its faces are square since all the edges of a cube are equal in length. We have here the volume of a cube. The volume of a cube is represented by S cube. Yung S po natin dito is the edge of the cube po. Let's have this example. Find the total surface area and volume of the following po. So in this example, 4 inches is the side of the base, and 10 inches represents the height of this prism. So if we're going to find the area of the regular hexagon, so hexagon po yung ating base, with side length of S, so meron po tayong formula dito. This will help us to solve for the area of the base if the given base is a regular hexagon po. So B is equal to 3 square root of 3 over 2, and S represents for the side length of the hexagon. So we have 4. So 4 squared dito, kaya naging 4 squared po. So 16 po siya. If we're going to simplify it po, 16 divided by 2 is 8, times 3 is 24, square root of 3 cubic inches po. Thus, the lateral area is equal to the perimeter times the height. So yung ating perimeter po is 4 times 6. So there are 6 sides. So we're going to multiply 4 by 6. The product is 24. And we're going to multiply it to 10, since 10 is the length of, or the height of the prism. So we have 24 times 10. So the lateral area is equal to 240 square inches po. For the total area, or the total lateral area, we have the lateral area plus B. So dito po sa ating given, isang base lang po siya kasi open po yung taas. So 240 is the lateral area, and the base is equal to the area of the hexagon. So we have 24 times square root of 3 added to 240, so we can have it as 24 times the quantity 10 plus square root of 3 square inches. For the volume, we have area of the base. The area of the base is equal to 24 square root of 3 times the height. So we have 240 square root of 3 cubic inches po. For this number 2, the area of triangular base is equal to, base is equal to 1/2 times length times, or base times height. Di ba po yung formula ng triangle is equal to 1/2 base times height. So dito po sa ating figure, yung ating triangle po, we have 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters po yung kanyang legs po. So ito po yung kanyang hypotenuse, since yung ating given triangle po ay right triangle po. And the area of the triangle is equal to 12 square inches. Then, if we're going to find the length of the third side, so we can use the Pythagorean Theorem, since sinabi ko nga po kanina na yung triangle po ay right. So the measure of this side, so ito pong side na to, is 2 square root of 13. Then, the lateral area, so ang area ng ating, ay, yung perimeter po natin is 4 plus 6 plus 2 square root of 13. So yun po yung area na lateral area po. Perimeter ng ating base. Times the height, ang height po ng ating prism ay 12. So nakahiga po kasi yung ating illustration. So we can say, di ba po yung ating height ng prism ay yung um, length po ng parallelogram or ng rectangle. So the lateral area now is equal to 10 plus 2 square root of 13 times 12 is equal to, so if we're going to simplify po, we have 24 times the quantity 5 plus the square root of 13 square inches. Then, we have here the total surface area, L, area, the lateral area, plus 2, 2, 2b, which is equal to 2, the area of 2 bases po. So we have 24 plus 5 square root of 13, so ito po yung lateral area, plus yung area ng base, 2 times 12. So yan po. Ang ang 12 po dito ay yun po yung area ng triangle. Kaya nagkaroon po tayo ng 12 dito. So yun po yung ano po diyan. Yung value na 12 from the area of the triangular base. And since we have two triangles here, so we multiplied 12 by 2. So if we're going to compute for the total area, we have 24 times the quantity 6 plus square root of 13 square inches po. So yan po. Ang nangyari po dito, nag-factor out po. So nangyari po dyan is plus 1. So we have 5 plus 1 is 6. Kaya nagkaroon po tayo ng 6. That's the square root of 13. For the volume, we have area of the base. So the area of the base is 12 and the height is 12. So the volume is equal to 144 cubic inches. Next, we have pyramids. So a polyhedron is a pyramid if and only if all the faces except one have a common vertex called the vertex of the pyramid. So ito po yung ating illustration. The base, ito po yung colored blue. The base edges, so yung blue lines. So yung edges po ng base. You have the lateral faces. So the faces of pyramid that share a common point. So ito po. We have the lateral edges. We have the altitude, the perpendicular segment. We have also the height. We have regular pyramids. So a regular pyramid is a regular polygon. Yung base niya po ay regular polygon. And its lateral edges are equal in length. While an oblique pyramid has non-congruent lateral edges. The slant height of a regular pyramid is the perpendicular distance from the vertex to any base edge po. So ito po yung ating slant height dito. So titignan po natin siya po ay perpendicular distance from the base edges po to the common vertex po. So ito po ay perpendicular po yan. And then, kung titignan po natin, yung height ng pyramid is the perpendicular distance from the center of the base to the common vertex. Slant height. We have the surface area and volume of pyramid. So pag sinabi po natin lateral area, so represented by capital letter L is equal to 1/2 times the perimeter multiplied by the slant height L. The total surface area is equal to lateral area plus the area of the base. For volume, we have 1/3 base times height. So yan po. So ito po yung given. The height of the pyramid is 6 inches and the base edge is equal to 4 inches po. So ang ating base dito ay square po yan. Square pyramid. Since yung ating base po ay congruent. 4 sides are congruent. So we can say that this pyramid is a square pyramid. And an example of a regular pyramid. So we have here, so 6 inches po yung kanyang height. So since yung ating given, yung side po ng square pyramid or yung base niya is 4 inches po yung one side. So if we're going to measure or to get the length of the height from or the altitude from the base edge, so ito po siya. So dinivide po by 2 since half po siya ng value or length. So since for yung ating given, this BC is equal to 2. And the length of the slant height, so ito po, if pag magdodraw po tayo ng slant height, so we have AB. For example, in this figure po, nagkaroon po tayo mga namings po ng mga points para mas madali. So the slant height can be solved using Pythagorean Theorem since ito po ay right triangle. So BC squared plus AC squared is equal to 2 squared plus 6 squared. So square root of 40, which is equal to 2 square root of 10 inches. Then we have the lateral area, 1/2 times perimeter times slant height. So ang perimeter po natin is nakadepende po sa base. So ang base po natin is a square. So and its one side measures 4 inches. So 4 times 4 is 16 times the height or the slant height, 2 square root of 10 is equal to 16 square root of 10 inches square or square inches. For the total surface area, we have the lateral area plus the area of the base. So yung ating lateral area is 16 square root of 10 plus yung area ng base natin since ito ay square. So plus s squared. So naging 4 squared po siya since yung isang side po ng square ay 4 inches. Then, we have now 16 times the quantity 1 plus square root of 10. So, naging 1 po siya since pinactored out po natin yung 16 square root of 10 plus 16. So, 16 times 1 is 16 and 16 times the square root of 10. So, we have here the given value of the total surface area. For its volume, we have 1/3 base area of the base times height. So 1/3 and the area of the base is 16 and the height is 6. So we have here 32 cubic inches as our volume of this given pyramid here at the right po. For our number 2 po, so ito po yung ating given. The given slant height is 8 centimeters and yung ating lateral edge measures 10 centimeters. So, one lateral edge measures 10 centimeters rather. And our base is a square pa rin. So, we have here an illustration. So, in this example, we can solve uh, the length of x using Pythagorean theorems since yung ating slant height po, di ba po, na mention po kanina na yung slant height natin is perpendicular po siya from the base edge to the common vertex of a pyramid po. So, by Pythagorean theorem, so 10 squared minus 8 squared since yung 10 po is the hypotenuse of the right triangle po. So, we have now uh, 36 since 10 squared minus 8 squared. So, 36 po and the square root of 36 is 6. And therefore, this length is twice this measures since kalahati po siya, di ba po? And since ito ay 6, QT will become 12 po. So, in this solution. Let's continue. So, meron po tayong value. The measure of one side is of the square is 12 centimeters. And then, the lateral area is 1/2 perimeter times the slant height. So, ang perimeter po natin is 4 times 12 is 48 times 8, 192. Nag-divide po kasi ng 2. So, the lateral area is equal to 192. The total surface area, the lateral area plus the area of the base. So, ang lateral area po natin is 192 and yung ating base po ay square. So, 12 squared po siya. So, in total, we have 336 square centimeters. For its volume, we have 1/3 base times height. So, 1/3 times 12 squared plus 2 squared of 7. So, yung height po is 2 squared of 7. So, nakuha po siya using also the Pythagorean Theorem. So, ito po ay 8 centimeters at yung ating, ito po siya. So, yung pag hinanap po yung ating altitude ng or yung height ng pyramid. So, ito po ay 8, ito po ay 6 since, di ba po, half po siya ng isang side. And we can find the value of h by Pythagorean theorem. So, h squared plus x squared is equal to 8 squared. And we have here 2 squared of 7. Since ito po ay 8 squared minus 6 squared is equal to 64 minus 36, we have 28. And if we're going to simplify, 2 squared of 7. So we have here 2 squared of 7 from the height po of the pyramid. And its volume now is equal to 96 times square root of 7 cubic centimeters. Let's come now to cylinder. We have here the parts of cylinder po. We have the lateral surface, so yung curved surface. You have the bases, so yung dalawa po. Yung circle, parallel circles po. We have the radius, we have the axis, or we have the altitude, and the height. We have a right circular cylinder po. A cylinder is a right circular cylinder if and only if its bases are congruent circles and its axis is perpendicular to the bases po. So, the same lang din po sa ating mga na-mention kanina ng mga right prism, ganun po. We have also oblique cylinder po. So, ganito po siya para nakaslant po yung ating uh, object po. The height of the oblique cylinder is the perpendicular distance between the bases po. So, ito po yung height. So, hindi po yung ito po. So, in this case po, yung axis po at yung height ay magkaiba. Pero kapag right circular cylinder po, the axis and the height are the same. So, we have here the formulas. For the lateral area, we have lateral area is equal to the area or the circumference of the circle times the height of the cylinder. So, yan po. For the total surface area, we have the lateral area plus the area of the two circles. For the volume, we have the area of the base. So, yung base po natin is circle times the height po of the cylinder. For this example, we have here the radius of the circle, which is equal to 5 inches po. And the height of the cylinder is equal to 12 inches po. So if we're going to find the lateral surface area, we have the circumference, so 2 pi times the radius 5 times the height of 12 is equal to 120 pi square inches. For the total surface area, we have the lateral plus the area of the two circles po. So the area, the lateral area is equal to 120 pi plus yung ating area ng base is 5 squared is 25 pi. Since dalawa po yung ating circle, so kaya naging 50 pi po siya. Then if we're going to add 120 plus 50, so we have 170 pi square inches. For the volume of this cylinder, we have the area of the base. So the area of the base is equal to 5 squared times pi times the height of the cylinder is equal to 300 cubic inches po. Since 25 times 12. Okay? Next, a right regular square prism is inscribed in a right circular cylinder having a radius of 4 centimeters and a height of 10 centimeters as shown below. Solve for the volume of the region inside the cylinder but outside the prism. So ito po. So yung um, volume. So if we're going to find the volume, we're going to of the yung hinahanap po natin volume is equal to the volume of the cylinder minus the volume of the prism po. So if we're going to um, have it po, volume of ay yung ating formula kasi ng volume ng cylinder, area of the base of the cylinder times the height minus yung ating prism po is area of the base of the prism times the height. So if we're going to uh, calculate it po or in other formula po, we have pi r squared h minus s squared h. S squared po since yung ating area, yung ating uh, given po na prism is a square prism. So let's proceed. Ito po yung ating given. So let us first, where S is the length of the base edge of the prism, so R is equal to 4 centimeters. And H is equal to 10 centimeters. The formula requires that S be known first. So we need to find the length of the side of this square prism po. Yung side po ng base. Since yung ating radius po ay 4 centimeters, so ibig sabihin po, yung total diameter po ng ating circle is equal to 8 centimeters. So yung 8 centimeters po represents the diameter of the circle. And it's also represent the diagonal of the square prism or the base of the square prism po. So we have here S squared. So we need to determine the value of S. And meron po tayong theorem na in a 45 degree 90 triangle, we can solve for S by dividing the diagonal by square root of 2. So yun po. So we have here the volume of yung ating pong hinahanap. We have pi r squared h. So this is from the volume of the cylinder. And the side of the square is equal to 8 over square root of 2 squared times 10. So we have here the required volume, 160 times the quantity pi minus 2 cubic centimeters. So yan po. So ito po. So we factored out po this value. Next, we have cones. A circular cone is a closed geometric figure made up of a circular base and the vertex which are joined by a single curved surface po. Ito po yung mga parts ng cone. We have also the right circular cone and we have the oblique circular cone. So the same po, parang same po sila ng pyramid. Yung illustration po nila. Yung pagkakaiba lang po, yung base po ng cone ay circles. Pero yung pyramid po, yung base niya po ay polygon po. The slant height of a right circular cone is the distance from the vertex to any point on the circumference of its base. So ito po. Ito po yung slant height. For the formula of the lateral area, we have 1/2 times the circumference of the circle or the base times the slant height. Or we have here pi RL po. For the total surface area, we have the lateral area plus the area of the base. So we have pi RL plus pi R squared. For the volume, we have 1/3 area of the base times the height. Or we have 1/3 pi R squared H rather. We have here an example. Find the total surface area and volume of this right circular cone that was shown below. Or that is shown below rather. Solution. We have here radius of 4 inches and the height of the cone is 6 inches. So ito pong height dito ay hindi po yan slant height, kundi ay altitude ng cone. So we have here, so we need to find the length of the slant height. So we have here an illustration, 6 inches and 4 inches. So we can use the Pythagorean Theorem to find the slant height. So we have 6 squared plus 4 squared, so 36 plus 16. So 36 plus 16 is equal to 52. And if we're going to simplify it, the slant height measures 2 square root of 13. Applying the formulas po, we have the lateral area, 8 pi times the square root of 13. For the total surface area, we are going to add the lateral area plus the area of the base. So, ito po yung ating area of the base kasi circle po siya. So, pi r squared. So, yung ating radius po ay 4. So, square po siya. Niya is 16 times pi. So, naging ganito po siya. So, 8 pi po yung common factor, square root of 13 plus 2. For the volume, we have 1/3 area of the base times height. The area of the base is 4 squared pi or 16 pi times 6. So, if we're going to simplify, 6 divided by 3 is 2 times 16 is 32 pi cubic inches po. Another example, we have here a right circular cone. Its radius is half of its height. Solve for the total surface area and volume of the cone in terms of R. So yung ating yung ating radius daw ay kalahati ng height. So we have here L squared or the slant height is equal to H squared plus R squared. So yung height po is represented by 2R since meron po dati yung given na yung height, radius ay half of the height. So ibig sabihin, yung height po ay twice of the length of the radius po. So 2R or the quantity of 2R squared plus R squared is equal to 4R squared plus R squared, which is equal to 5R squared. So yung ating uh, slant height is square root of 5R. So yung R po ay nasa labas na po siya ng radical sign. Since R squared po siya, square root of R squared is equal to R. Thus, the lateral area is equal to 1/2 times the circumference of the base times the slant height. So we have here pi RL, so pi R times the square root of 5R. So we have square root of 5R squared. Or we can have square root of 5 pi R squared square units. We have the total surface area which is equal to, so ito po, pi R squared po yung value po ng ng area ng circle. Is equal to pi R squared times the quantity square root of 5 plus 1. Since equal po ito sa 1 times pi R squared is equal to this formula, square units. And the volume is equal to 1/3 area of the base times height. So we have the area of the base pi R squared times the height 2R. So we have 2 pi over 3 radius cube po, cubic units po. Another, we have sphere. So if we're going to define sphere, it's a set of points in space which are of the same distance called the radius from a given point called the center. Ito po yung illustration ng sphere. In this case, the circle is called the great circle of a sphere. So ito po. Yan po, yung great circle. For the formulas of the surface area of the sphere, we have 4 times the area of the great circle, or 4 pi r squared. And the volume is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. We have here sample problems. Find the surface area and volume of a sphere of radius 5 inches. So we have the area, surface area, 4 pi r squared. So just substitute the value of r. So we have 5 squared times 4 pi is equal to 100 pi square inches. For the volume, we have 4 over 3 pi r cubed. So we have 5 cube here times 4 over 3 is equal to 500 pi over 3 cubic inches. For number 2, suppose that the surface area of a sphere in square inches and its volume in cubic inches are equal in value. What are its surface area and volume? So may given po tayo na yung surface area and yung kanyang volume ay equal po. So we have A is equal to B. Thus, 4 pi r squared is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. So we have r squared here is equal to 1 over 3 r cubed. So we have here an equation. which is equal to 0. So factor out po, r squared times the quantity 1 minus 1/3 r is equal to 0. So solving for r squared is equal to 0. So 0 na po siya dito. Or 1 minus 1/3 r. So r is equal to 3 po. Since a sphere has a positive radius, then r should be equal to 3 inches po. So ayan po. So by checking po, if the radius is equal to 3, the area is equal to 36 pi square inches. Same with the volume in cubic inches po. We have here nets also. A net is a two-dimensional diagram which shows how a polyhedron would look like when its edge-joined faces are arranged in a plane. So we have here cube po. So this is how, or these are some nets and how we are to create a cube po. Steps po yan or illustrations. So if we have here, there could be more than one net of a polyhedron. Below are other nets of a cube except one. Which below do you think is not a net of a cube? So saan po dito? Okay. So alam ko na, alam niyo na din yung sagot. And we have here solving for the surface area. So ito po example niya. So we can solve the surface area by using nets po. So ayan po yung illustration niya. So yung height po ng ating prism is 10. Yung kanyang, kasi kapag ipapatayo po ito po yung magiging ano niya. Then ito po yung length po na ito, 20 inches. We have 5, yung height po. We have also 15. So, naging ganito po siya. And we have 5 inches, we have 5 inches, and we have 8 inches. So, ito po yung 8 inches. So, ito ay area 1. And we have this area. Ito yung colored one, area 1, area 2, area 3. So, we can solve the total area of this prism, of this prism po. So, we have here 730 square inches po as our area. So, thank you for participating for today's lesson or for today's discussion.